Howard Lindzen is the founder and general partner at Social Leverage. All opinions expressed by Howard and podcast guests are solely their own opinions and do not reflect the opinion of Social Leverage or StockTwits. This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon for decisions. Guests may maintain positions and securities discussed in this podcast.
Hi, it's Howard Lindzen, another episode of Lindsanity. Really excited today to talk to a longtime employee at YouTube, Twitter, and just left Headspace, and going to be talking about his background and future here on Lindsanity, Ross Hoffman. All right, welcome to my show, Ross Hoffman, or as they call you on Twitter, Hoff.
Thanks for having me.
So everybody, you don't know Hoff, but you're gonna know Hoff, and he's a tall, redheaded Jew. That's right. It's a rare thing.
A daywalker. I can get
you
tan too.
You kind of look a little bit Irish.
Yeah, a little bit.
So Ross is unemployed, so I think it's important for Lindsanity, for the show, to talk to everybody. The rich, the poor, the Irish,
you're an equal opportunist.
An equal opportunist. And in an era where there's 100% employment, Fat Nixon is out there saying it's 100%. Here's a guy who's got it all, red hair, tall, married, worked at Twitter, went to school in Maryland. All the greats come out of Maryland.
That's right, yeah.
No one's come out of Maryland.
Jim Henson.
Is it
Jim Henson and me, yeah.
Okay, not bad. Jim Henson's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And here we are. You got everything going for you. You're unemployed.
Yep.
All right, so we're here to help. That's what I do. Can't help myself. But the thing is, you don't need help. And so let's dive into the great last 15 years of your life. Because we just met, but from Twitter we know each other, as most people do in my network. We know people from their Twitter stream, from the cool jobs that they've had. And you're 36?
37.
So to be able to be unstressed and 37 and not worried about employment is a joy that I'm encouraging you to not rush into your next gig. But Ross Hoffman, I want to go to the journey. And I want to start that journey at Twitter.
Sure.
Tell me a little bit about your experience, like how you got started at Twitter and before that at Google. So let's just dive right in. I'm kidding around a lot, but Twitter and Google, how did it happen? How did you end up there?
So I'll go back a little bit. I was in the East Coast. I wasn't enjoying it. I knew from a young age I didn't want to be there for a long time, and I came out to visit a friend in California who was working in the William Morris Mailroom, and the guy was making
literally the mailroom.
Literally the mailroom was making probably $20,000 a year, but was the happiest person in LA. And it was raining that weekend, and I came back to the East Coast, and I had a job in real estate. I was doing well, but I wasn't happy, and I thought, wow, it's
undergrad degree only.
Yeah, undergrad from University of Maryland, and it was pouring rain in LA. Guy's making no money, but he's incredibly happy. I'm in this great job. I'm unhappy. Kind of did the math and said, I'm going to quit my job and move to California. So moved to California, saved up enough cash to buy a car, drove across the country, rented an apartment in LA, interviewed at CAA, William Morris, UTA, ICM.
Those are the places you went. What year was this?
This is 2005.
So this is after internet bubble. You weren't yet focused on the internet. You just wanted a job in LA.
I wanted to be in California. I read a book called The Mailroom, talked about Michael Ovitz and the starting of CAA and the successful agents that came through the Mailroom, Barry Diller, a lot of famous people, big media moguls that came through. And I said, that sounds interesting. It's the best place to get an education for the entertainment industry. So my first offer was at William Morris, and that was like the iconic, original agency. This is pre, many years before the merger with Endeavor, the acquisition by Endeavor, and I got in. So I got lucky. I didn't have an uncle or an aunt who was a famous producer or any Hollywood ties. I got out.
Basically, your mailroom.
Yeah, I said to the guy in the mailroom, "Look, I'm going to work harder than anyone. I'll be here first. I'll leave last, and if I fuck up, you can fire me."
Doesn't the mail just come once a day?
It does. However, in a system like Hollywood, they want you to run reports, and they want you to be there at 5 a.m. to print out things for the agents, and they want you to drive their aunt to Palm Springs to take her shopping, or they want you to walk to the farm and get them a chocolate chip cookie. All the important tasks. So. While I was out of the mailroom and I was in the corporate consulting department, I saw Dig get funding. I saw YouTube get acquired. I saw MySpace get acquired, and then Fox do the deal with Google for the $900 million search deal. And I was like, what the hell's going on in Silicon Valley? Like, this is crazy. This all happened in a several month period that, Kevin Rose is on the cover of Newsweek. You have Chad Hurley in the stories with YouTube, and it's like something's happening there. And I was obsessed with YouTube. I would watch soccer highlights and sports highlights on YouTube. 2006.
So
it was
day
2006.
One. There's cat videos and there's illegal highlights.
And there's highlights.
This is my experience. Just
and I was
in a
like,
different part of the world. I'm living here.
Yeah.
I'm on YouTube going, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, this is unbelievable. It's best content in the world, which I think will be relevant
Except
to Twitter.
you had your whole life ahead of me and I was older.
Yes.
You're a lucky man.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I
you
was
recognize
naive enough to not know anything and was like, this product's incredible. I love it. How can I go work there? And I was studying for the GMAT. I was kind of hedging. Do I go to B school? And the department head who runs a fund, runs an incubator in LA, actually, Amplify LA, Paul Brico,
great guy.
He's awesome. And he said, look, YouTube's actually hiring. They want people who know how to negotiate for content, to bring content on the platform.
Yeah.
You should interview. And I was like, well, I love the product. I don't know anything about tech, but I'll work hard and I'll keep my head down and I ask questions and I'll admit what I don't know, et cetera. So I interviewed. I didn't think it could have went worse, is what I told Paul. He said how to go. No,
Hunter wasn't there yet.
This is pre-Hunter. This is Jordan Hoffner was running the content group. Chris Maxey, who was
in Santa Monica.
No, this is over the phone. So I was with Jordan Hoffner. Then they flew me up there, and I studied my ass off in the interim. And then I knew when I was up there.
You knew everything about cats.
I studied all the different breeds of cats. Yeah,
anime.
That's right.
Like, what do you have to study?
No, just like tell me about. Well, there were channels like Smosh and Lisa Nova and Shay Carl that were starting to build audiences. So I was like,
what about Wall Strip?
Those are all them. Yeah, Wall Strip.
Really?
Yeah, I should have given you a shout out there. But they, after I went up there, I said, he asked me the same question, how to go, and I said, I thought it went really, when you interview, it either went well or it didn't go well, and it went well. And the next week they were like, "Can you start next week?" And I said to Paul, Is it cool if I quit and go work there? He said, "Yeah, go for it."
Get on a rocket ship.
It's actually a funny story. I moved up there.
Did anybody ever tell you that's the lesson? You see a rocket ship?
Get on. Yeah,
Get on
absolutely.
The goddamn rocket ship.
Josh Ellman told me that actually. Yeah,
smart kid.
Robin Hood guy. Yeah. So I went up. I moved. I bought. All my clothes were in storage actually because they moved me up there, and I was a William Morris guy. So I went to the Stanford Mall and I bought shirts to tuck in and nice pants. And I showed up the first day at Google and everyone was wearing T-shirts. And they were like, "Who's this corporate guy?" But my job at YouTube was to negotiate to bring content.
Were they in one office still at the time?
A very small office in San Bruno
So
before they moved into the
Chad
headquarters.
And Brent.
It was. I think there were 70 people there. Yeah, Chad, Brent, Steve. Chad, I actually sat right outside of his.
I know Brent. I haven't met Chad.
I'm buddies with them. Ironically, they're from Philadelphia. So when I saw
you're Philly.
I saw Philly sports stuff in Chad's office, and I was seated right outside of his office where my desk was, and he was like, "Oh, you're from Philadelphia? Like you're my guy." Yeah. So I was
Give me a sandwich.
Yeah, he flew me to LA for a playoff game when the Phillies were playing the Dodgers. Like we were. I'm still friends with those guys today.
So you called Chad.
Yeah.
And then the next day said, "Chad, listen, I got other tickets. I want to bring my brother to the game." Would he pull a Jim Cramer on you?
He would.
I'm going deep inside already.
He'd bring my brother. He'd say, "Yeah, bring him along."
He'd bring your brother.
Oh yeah, he's
and
that
that's
type
why
of guy.
Chad's a good guy.
Yeah, he's the best. He's awesome.
And that's why Jim Cramer doesn't cut it.
Different experience with Kramer, but it's still a big.
We're not
going to
podcast that, but you got a good story there.
Oh yeah, crazy
and
story. Yeah,
people are people.
Yeah,
and Chad would let you bring your brother.
He's like he's a really just like matter of fact, humble, good guy. Yeah, I'm a big fan. As in Brent too, his brother's awesome.
So you land at YouTube.
Yeah.
And
bring content on the platform.
That was the initiative.
They
said, "Hey, Big Red."
Anything.
Was your name Hoff at the time or Big Red?
No, it was I think just Ross. They went by. Yeah, so old school.
Okay, so they said Ross. We don't know what's doing. Bring more.
There were
stuff.
other people. Like there was George Strompolis who started Full Screen, who's a good buddy of mine through today. We hang all the time, and our kids get together.
Is there a YouTube Mafia?
Is there a YouTube Mafia? I think there's definitely been some really interesting founders that came from YouTube that also went outside of the content space. There's a really interesting company, Imagix, that is started by a guy, Chris Zacharias, who was a web developer at YouTube that is like, it's like image processing for websites to help images render and reshape and load more quickly at a high level, that they're doing really well. And they've been around for like, I think coming up on 10 years.
So what were they paying you?
What were they paying me?
You signed your, you're in the fucking mailroom, and
yeah,
now you're at YouTube.
I think I doubled my salary. I think I went
40K?
from like, I was working so many hours and they were giving you overtime at William Morris. So I think I got bumped to like 50K. So I was a multimillionaire in my eyes. And at the time that I joined YouTube,
you weren't thinking about stock. You were just...
No, I was like,
Rico says go work at YouTube.
I can pay rent, and they gave me stock, which was the second time I owned stock. I bought a penny stock when I was at William Morris that I thought was going to be big.
Because you're being honest.
Yeah.
That's what people do.
Yeah. It didn't go well. It was a good lesson, though. Very good lesson.
Good for you.
So bring
rite of passage.
Bring on, of course. Yeah. Get your ass handed to you and learn from it. Yeah.
But if you're on Twitter, as you know, because you're a Twitter guy, you've never been wrong. People on Twitter have never admitted that they've been wrong. But we can go there another time.
After you hit
now
tweet,
you go from mailroom
Yep.
to center of the universe, whether you knew it or not.
It was crazy. I was in my second month there. I was at an offsite at the Ritz-Carlton Half Moon Bay, looking around like, what is going on? Like, where the hell am I? This is crazy.
Hadn't been bought yet.
No, just got bought. Yeah, a few months before it got bought. Okay. Yeah, so like the Google money was being infused and more support was coming.
First day on the job, they say,
go get content. So I'm getting public domain content. There were people.
Experience.
People were mailing me boxes of VHSs that we were getting transcoding and transcribing and getting on the platform. They were sending us XML files that we were ingesting. I was getting kung fu content from random people in areas.
It might have been me.
I was getting, we were also getting NBA content, little pieces, not like big games
from the NBA,
even clips. Yeah, from them. We worked with Turner because Turner handled the digital. We worked with CBS, ABC, NBC, Fox. This took time, and this is pre-ads. So we said, like, trust us, ads are going to come. They said, we want to use our own player. We want to serve our own ads. We want the traffic to count for our sites. We said, no. Like, we can't do any of that. It was the bottom fifth ad, remember, that would pop up 15 seconds in, 10 seconds in, that bottom fifth ad. Yeah. And we were like, wow, this is like crazy. And they said, no one's staying to watch that long. Like, we want to do pre-roll. And there was a huge debate. Like, are people gonna come if we do pre-roll? Yeah, it was a scary thing. Like, if you slap an ad in front of it, are people gonna stick around to watch the content?
Who did you worry about? Forgetting the lawsuits, was there like Crackle? Was it Rever?
No one. If anyone says anyone, they're just being diplomatic.
But who were some of the...
No.
So I would make my show and distribute it everywhere.
You would, but where were your views?
I understand, but like, as a creator of content, we were just like, how could they be? You were 60% at the time. I was like, well, you got to hedge and you got to be everywhere. I never would have thought, what's YouTube, 90%?
Yeah, I think if you look at all the web traffic, I mean, it's the number 2 search engine in the world. It's crazy. We would actually model out how to negotiate.
So bullish.
When we got further along and we started actually doing MGs for content, minimum guarantees, and trying to model it out.
MGs, when did you learn that word? When did you learn your first language?
The acronyms, probably at YouTube, yeah. But we would use the search data we had on Google to see, like, all right, how's the demand there? What do we think we should be bidding? It's actually pretty interesting for them, just given the insight that they have in terms of what people are looking for.
So for my nephews out there and young people, you get some options.
Yeah.
What do you do?
So everyone was talking about Apple. This is 2007.
No, but you've got your YouTube becomes Google stock.
Yeah.
What do you do with it?
Yeah, I bought Apple and Amazon.
Oh, so you sold your Google stock?
Yeah, I bought Apple and Amazon. I thought Amazon's the easiest place to buy stuff on the internet. Like, the easiest.
You didn't want to hold your Google stock?
I wanted to diversify.
Oh,
yeah.
So did you hold some of it?
Yeah, you hold some, but I think, and this is just my opinion. Some people would say you're an idiot, but I think you need to. When you're getting your breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and your salary, and your benefits, and your stock from one place, you should take some off the table and spread it around. I think it's
everybody's different. I just wanted to know because this is a show about money too. Yeah. So really interesting because you're kind of into this stuff.
Yeah, and I bought Apple after the iPhone. I was like, that's the future.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So so you were kind of into it.
Yeah.
When did you meet your wife?
I met my wife, this is fast forward a while ago, so we're probably going to jump around. I met her at a bar in New York City in June 1st, 2013 is when I met her.
Wow.
Yeah.
So just the old-fashioned way.
Old-fashioned way. It's actually, comes back to the mailroom.
Did you throw a beer on her? Or
no, I actually spilled a drink on myself and recognized that I had been overserved and got her phone number and left before I messed it up. Right? So I had enough insight to say, all right, this is like, I think I like this girl. I should get out of here.
And so how long did you wait to call her?
I think I called her the next week. I'm not smooth. I never tried to.
And she thought you were Irish Catholic because you have red hair.
She was probably really excited. I'm going to bring this nice Irish boy home to my family, and little
she
did
finds
she know.
out. So when did you tell her you were Jewish?
I think after like 2 years, I told her that I was Jewish. No, she knew pretty quickly. The guy that I met her
I haven't told my wife I'm Jewish. 23 years.
If she listens to this, she's going to find out. It's going to change everything.
She might listen to first 30 seconds and go, this is boring.
There you go.
So, so you find, okay, so I got this whole Jewish thing.
Yeah.
So, because I wouldn't have pictured you as Jewish. So, just with the name and the
None of us
hair.
touched the bread last night at dinner, I noticed. So, we're keeping
pace.
We were good,
off. Right?
Yeah, I know. Very good. Yeah. Although the dessert.
But the creme brulee corn.
The creme brulee corn.
So, are you keeping Passover right now?
I am, yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
So you didn't do it. You had a steak.
I had a steak I did eat shellfish, but I'm not kosher. So,
okay, but we ate it on for his wife out there. We ate it on paper plate.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So, but steak 44.
She wouldn't even get that.
You
reference.
got to see my favorite restaurant.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah. I love the town. I really like it out here.
Yeah, just wait a week.
Yeah.
165
come back in the summer. That's what
Celsius.
That's what my wife said.
So, you meet. So we've jumped all over, so I'll go back. So you started Twitter way before you met your wife.
Yeah.
Okay. So how do you get recruited? So you've got how many years at Google did you do?
So 3 years. 2 years into Google, I was like, it's 2009, and I saw Livestream, Ustream, and Justin TV were the three places for live content. Yeah, and I'm like, man, why are these existing when, to your point, you're getting 60, 90% of your views from this one channel? We're the 800-pound gorilla. We should either partner with them, we should build the content, or we should buy them. So YouTube was very, very autonomous at the time. And with respect to Google, you could move relatively quickly. I don't know what it's like now. It's 10 years later. And I called up a guy at Akamai and was like, hey, if we iframe the page, can you be the CDN? And he said, yeah, that's what Akamai does. We can be the CDN. So they did the encoding. I called a friend. It was the first year of the Outside Lands Music Festival. I knew the guy that owns the company that puts that on. And I said, if I can make you extra free money, would you want it? And he said, yeah, of course we'd want extra free money. What would we have to do? And I said, we'll do a one-time stream of the live feed and then give me 30 on-demand clips that we can cut. I'm going to put pre-rolls in front of them. We'll keep them up for 30 days and that'll be it.
No brainer.
The ad sales team was like, this is amazing. We put it together. We made a few $1 million. We started doing that across the world. We did a deal with the India Premier League in India. They brought all the team owners to YouTube HQ, which was like one of the coolest meetings of my career. I still have the cricket paddle that they gave me. And it was like $100 million run rate. So I pitched it to more people. It was kind of like a skunkworks project. And this kind of only happens at a company like Google, probably Apple, but no one talks about what happens there because it's so secretive. But I got an email one day from this guy who's like, hey, I lead the radio ads team, the Eng team out of Cambridge, and we just shut down radio ads. There's satellites on the roof of Building 43 in Mountain View. We could use them to build out our own live streaming tech. And I heard you're the guy doing this. What do you think? And I was like, wait, a team of like amazing engineers that want to build a product that I've been trying to get off the ground for, a year? Let's do it. Totally. So we started to build our own live product, which is their live product today.
And who were you reporting to at this time?
To Chris Maxey.
And your title was?
Strategic partner,
whatever.
Development
but you got to
manager.
Do shit you wanted to do.
Yeah, I did whatever I wanted. It was awesome.
What a company. Okay.
Yeah, it was really cool. So we did that and we pulled in Twitter's API. So you needed the YouTube chat at the time, which the YouTube commenting still is not good. But it was way worse before, and we wanted to have live chat instead of on-demand. You can't have on-demand chat with live content. You want to have the two match. So I was a Twitter fan. I joined Twitter, I think, in end of 2007, maybe, early 2008. It's like, this is a cool product. I knew Ron Conway. He had invested in it. He told me about it.
But you were in L.A.?
No, that was when I was at YouTube. I moved up. When I moved up to San Francisco.
Oh, you moved up to San Francisco. Okay, got it.
And we pulled in Twitter's API, which was just public API. Their data was everywhere. And we had the live content with the live conversation. And then a buddy of mine from YouTube went over there and was like, it's great. Come check it out. I went. I met Dick. I met Ali Rogani. I met...
How many Dicks did you meet?
Costello, yeah. The only one. And
I mean, it's tough to have a name named Dick.
Man,
2009.
He can play.
No one names their kids Dick anymore.
He can play it. His improv background and how quick he is. He can.
No, he hasn't. He's heard.
He's perfectly suited and perfectly suited.
No one names their. Would you name your kid Dick?
I'll name my kid what my wife says we're going to name the kid. Is usually how it goes down.
You may have to get her on the phone.
Probably not. I don't think she Harrison's our son's name. We'll see if we have another which
so you meet
she
Dick.
goes. So I met him, and I was like, how much are you paying Ashton Kutcher to tweet? How much are you paying Shaq to tweet? How much are you paying Larry King and CNN? 0. We're not paying them anything. And I'm just like, get out of here. Come on. Like, you got to be paying these guys. They don't do stuff for free. Diddy's, Puff Daddy's on Twitter.
Howard Lindson's on Twitter.
Howard Linson, the Wall Street guy. Come on. And they're like, no, we're not paying him. It's crazy. And we need people to come and work with the media companies. We want you to kind of be an evangelist for the platform. There was one, Chloe Sladden, who started the group Angels. She was there. And then there's a guy, Robin Sloan, who went on to be a really successful author, actually. It was the two of them. And they hired me. So I came in. I was working for Chloe. Then Kevin Thal started running BD. I started working for Kevin.
So first 100 people, maybe?
Yeah. And just, hey, we need to get content on the platform. We don't have ads yet. We have one office. We have 10 million users. We don't have monetization. We kind of had maybe a
Dick
little.
Was CEO already?
COO when I joined.
COO.
And that was the mandate. So I was just like, okay, let me go to my network and get people on the platform. And I said to them, like, look, this thing's going to be huge, and you're going to regret not being here, and you're not going to make money for a while, but you're going to use it to drive your main revenue stream, which is, ad sales of television, and it's going to work. You should do it. And I went to individuals like, any celebrity. They would say, Hoff, can you go talk to them? Or I remember going to talk to like Kramer or to actually Jim Rome, who's a really good follow on Twitter. Yeah. I went to his office in Irvine.
Is he still good?
Yeah.
Is he still on Twitter?
He's amazing. And I was like, dude, stop telling people to write in to email you on your radio show. Just have him tweet you.
Right.
He's like, I don't understand it. And I showed him it. And he's like, all right, I get it now. And did those types of things. So for the first 6 months, that was what I was doing. And leading up to the Super Bowl in 2000.
And was the whole team in San Fran?
Everyone was in San Francisco. We had a few people in Japan because Twitter's massive in Japan. And we should talk about that, actually, about the fact that they should spin that out and have that be a separate company.
Interesting.
But I started to say, like, all right, around events is when we get the most tweets. The Super Bowl is the biggest thing. Let's build a product around the Super Bowl, around this event. So we took all the conversation around the Super Bowl, and you just separate it by mentions. No, this is 2010.
Okay.
And it was the Steelers and the Packers. And we said, all right, well, when anyone talks about #Packers, we made this little football field. The football's going to move down the field as if they're scoring a touchdown. And whenever you talk about the Steelers, it's going to move this way. And let's create some curated feeds of players, of celebrities, of coaches, of sports writers, et cetera. And Adam Bain joined while I was in the middle of pitching that to the NFL. And he was like, this is amazing. Like, you got a 50-50 rev share with the NFL. That's unheard of. And I said, well, it's like wholly incremental money for them. They don't have to do anything except give us their marks and do a redirect from superbowl.com. Let's do it. So we sold it to Visa. They were the first sponsor. And kind of that molded into like, all right, let's have a team doing
so
this
is why I
try
and teach. So let's go back just a second. I mean, there's so much that I've just learned about you, and then so much I'm trying to like pass on.
Sure.
Because you've lived in the future. Because the future that we now live in is like, I tell my nephews or any young kid that comes to me for help, go work at a rocket ship. Doesn't matter. Go work in the mailroom of a rocket ship. It's not CAA.
Get in any way you can.
The door.
Clean the floors, set up the tables, do it.
So just what you did at CAA is now what you do at an enterprise software company or an app.
Yeah.
Go look at the top 100 apps. Find out the one closest to your fucking home.
Yeah.
And just show up like Costanza. Yeah. And start working.
Yeah. I tell my brother-in-law, actually,
You're living proof.
I told him, I said, look, just if you're trying to position yourself as you know, and you can add all the strategic value, you're going to be hated by
the people at the company.
Tell him you're a jack of all trades who will keep his or her head down, and you're going to work as hard as anyone in the room. Literally just say that, and most likely someone will give you an opportunity, and just don't fuck it up.
Okay. This is why it's important to have people like you on a show about money. And the millennials can't learn anything from me.
Yeah.
I mean, they can learn a few things, but like I haven't been there.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know. I mean, I know that I would want to do that if I was your age. I'd want to walk into YouTube and just say, show up like Costanza, like in Seinfeld. Like, I'm just going to work for the Yankees. But to stay at these two places like you did and then listen, it's easy to get in the door.
Yeah.
Like what we're giving advice, literally anybody could go do.
Yeah.
Homeless, whatever. You walk into that place and you just say, I'm jack of all trades. I'm going to do whatever. Now, what you do once you're in that door,
it's on
let's
you.
be honest,
Totally.
it's on you. And so that is what's impressive of what you did is like, it had to be overwhelming.
Yeah, it
it's
was.
like, how do you measure, who was measuring what you did?
Well, I think it's, and this is not me patting myself on the back at all, but I think what I say to people that stay at a company for a long time, and I kind of use quotes there, a long time in a tech company is anywhere from like 3+ years. I feel like people start to consider that being longer tenure. And definitely if you go over 4 years, they're like, oh, well, you vested all your stock. Like, why are you still here? And then they don't understand, like, yeah, you can get more stock if you're doing well in the interim and subsequent grants. But to shift, and you see this as an investor, the company is so different, a startup every 6 months. And,
6 months.
An exec comes in, an exec goes, we make an acquisition, a new competitor enters the market, our product, fails, or we have to pivot or this or that. It's like, it's so different. So you have to continually adjust and continually be comfortable with being uncomfortable and recognizing that that's normal. So every 6 months, kind of pick your head up and say like, all right, what are the macro level trends that have changed either in or around this company, and what got me here will not get me there, and what am I going to shift in my behavior? Am I going to go from responding to every email to not reading every email?
These are major decisions.
Yeah, what meetings can I cut? What meetings do I go to that probably aren't high leverage for me that I shouldn't go to?
It's fascinating. Like, compared to what old corporate America was like to what you just went through.
It's nuts. And I think, millennials get a bad rap, and I think Gen Z, I'm really fascinated with that generation and how they'll turn out. But
they're going to turn out great.
I think they're going to be awesome. The impatience of millennials I admire, because they're like, well, fuck the corporate ladder. I want to get it. If a different job comes up every 13 months, I'm going to go to the new job, and that's a better opportunity.
LinkedIn's built to mess with them, to find them.
Yeah, I've hired hundreds of people, and I don't judge a book by the cover. I ask them their story. Like, tell me about, you've had 6 jobs in 4 years. Like, tell me about it. Tell me about how that happened.
You're not judging them because there could be great reasons.
Tell me the through line in your career, and tell me why we're sitting down talking today. Why does it make sense that we are talking, and that this is the right opportunity for you?
Yeah.
Because if it's not, it's going to be bad for both of us. I'm going to have to unwind it. You're going to go somewhere else. We're going to have to hire someone else, and just not good for anyone.
But the machine works. Like, people talk about the machine and the robots, and I'm like, fuck, the machine's great. I go work at, an enterprise software company that's flying off the shelf. So I learn all the systems. LinkedIn's going to find me, or a recruiter on LinkedIn, is going to do its job in a year. I'm going to get a ping, happy anniversary. Here's a company, Series B. Yeah. Teed up.
Yeah. And
machines tee this shit up.
And hopefully you have enough, I think, enough of a network / ear to the ground to vet it and vet the people and vet the opportunity and think about what the potential is. The one thing that's wild to me, though, is, and I think Carta's doing a good job with this, is just the lack of education around equity.
Yeah, and this is why I do fintech.
Man,
we are day one of teaching these kids.
I'm shocked about...
And Carta's as a product person, I think it sucks. As a fan of Carta, as a guy who passed on the investment and kicking myself, it's amazing.
Yeah, and they're starting to do content around education. I get asked, I use this line when I interview people. They'll ask me 1 or 2 questions about stock, and I'll say well, here's the 8 questions you didn't ask that you should have asked.
Yeah.
And let me explain to you what a 409A is and why that's important, or this or that. But it's weird that it's like a black box
because
at
the
companies.
Last generation didn't want anybody to know.
Right.
Wall Street was about, don't worry about it. We got it.
Right.
Okay, so this is what's exciting to me is I call you a kid, but kids like you coming out of there with more money than you could probably imagine. It's in weird places in restricted stock, and you don't know who to ask for advice, and you're not going to go set up a Schwab account. You're going to go, maybe Robo. We can chat a little about that, but this next generation is going to be like this. They're going to have money. It's either going to be passed down from us, or they're going to attach themselves to a rocket ship, because they're going to learn from watching this stuff, and not just us, millions of people giving away these secrets of how to go get your first job.
Yeah.
It's not about cover letters. It's about showing up.
Sure.
It's about, having some instinct.
And potential, too.
Yeah.
It's not about what you've done, but what can you do? And I think with respect to the stock, I actually think when you keep it vague, you're doing bilateral harm. And the more you educate, the more they're like, oh, this can be material for me.
Yes.
I get it. Oh, okay.
I don't need to hop around every year.
And I don't need to worry about asking my boss for a little raise, because that's not going to mean anything for me in the long term.
Yeah.
But you know what? This stock could actually really materially impact my life. And it's odd to me that it's still how do I get another grant? How does this work? What's fisting? Even
I think
the tax side of it is so complicated that people don't understand.
I think brain drain becomes a bigger thing in the next move because as kids learn about this stuff, they don't want to be stuck at a company because stock is how you make money.
Yeah.
Owning things is how you make money, not off your salary,
Yeah.
which was the whole middle class era. People say, oh, we bring back the middle class. Well, that era was all about working for the man,
Yep.
your paycheck and, whatever, TV era. This era is about, I got a network of these smart guys.
Yeah.
How did it happen?
Yeah.
How did it work? Oh,
Yeah.
this is all I have to do? Now, if you're not good, you're going to get weeded out. If you're good, you're going to learn about stock.
Yeah.
You're going to, and so this this Gen Z generation, man, if your company isn't doing things right,
Yeah.
you're going to go from hero to zero
Yeah.
much
Very
quicker
quickly. Agreed.
because the brains will leave.
Yeah.
Because you want your stock to be worth something.
Yeah.
So you don't want to work for people who you don't think the stock is going anywhere because the salary is not enough to give anybody happiness.
Agreed. And I think it's fascinating too, where everyone's like, oh, well, millennials, they're used to like growing up with phones. Millennials grew up, half of them, I think, grew up with phones, but a lot of the apps and products on the phones were invented after they've had the phone versus Gen Z, like they're getting the phone and it's like, all right, all the social media is on there, all these platforms are on there. So it's truly, truly native to them, which I think will spawn a lot more innovation and a lot of other just unique companies and a different mindset as well with that generation versus millennials where it's kind of a mix, right? For someone like me, I remember the card catalog and Dewey Decimal System and libraries and things like that. And then computers came out and I was like, oh, okay, I have an appreciation for this. For millennials, it's okay. I remember not having a phone. I now have a phone, and now I'm going to join these platforms. For Gen Z, it's like you're getting all of it at the same time, and I think that'll create an interesting impact from that.
Okay, so I want to do a lot to talk about. I'm going to do two more subjects. Twitter.
Yep.
We won't go deep. I know a lot of the stories. I suspected a lot of the stories at the executive level over the last few years. Talking to people, I kind of confirmed them. So I like it is what it is.
Yep.
So I don't want to get into the gossipy stuff. I just want to talk about the stock and the direction.
Great.
And money. How to make money off Twitter, and then we'll end with what's next for Ross Hoffman. So Twitter recruits you. You spent 7 years there.
Yeah.
And what was it like?
It was amazing. It was like 100 people when I joined. I believed in the product. I think anywhere you work, you want to be using the product all the time. And I just even through today, I asked my wife, like, I can't get off of it.
Me
I
too.
think it's just such an incredible product. The run up was great. I mean, I told you the story of the partnership we did around the Super Bowl, and that turned into fast forward 6 years. I'm managing a team of 400 people plus a lot of contractors in 25 different markets across the globe, traveling. And we built amazing relationships with marketers. We built a big business from nothing. And it was crazy to see it go from, wow, it's just this office to, holy cow, we have 25 offices. I remember the party that we had when we
And you're flying
hit 100 million users. And then it was like, oh, like, wow, and then 200 million and 300 million. It was an incredible experience.
And so you were flying around office to office.
Yeah, 200,000 miles a year, doing month-long trips to Europe or Asia and meeting with like 10 customers a day. I mean, we worked our ass. This one guy fell asleep in one of the meetings that we had at a dinner because he was just like so tired from the day of meetings. It was definitely a grind. I think Bain and Dick set the right tone from the top, which was like, you're going to work really hard and you're going to be the easiest partner to work with. Like, we are not the biggest, so you need to be really good at relationship management. You need to be likable, and you need to manage relationships really, really well and be easy to work with.
I think you did that at the expense of being nice to your actual users of the product. It's so interesting, right? It's like, I get it. You were nice to people who were spending money. You were not on the product side.
Yeah.
And it was the opposite on the product side. And we went through it last night. There's like 10 product people.
Yeah.
No one even knows their names from Sippy on down.
I think the problem is that with such an iconic product, you have a lot of strong opinions. And Twitter is the largest network of experts in the world. Larger than LinkedIn.
Real experts and fake experts.
Yes, that's right. You can't tell who's who.
Yeah.
But with that and with the fact that you're such a high-profile product, you get beaten up a lot on both the platform and in the press. Dick would always say, look, we're not as smart as they say we are, and we're not as bad as we're not as dumb as they say we are. We're somewhere in the middle. But I think with those opinions, it's hard. And when you're changing product leadership time after time after time, and when you're not telling a crisp story on the marketing side as to who you are, people come into Twitter on the user side and they expect Facebook.
And then financial story, you guys were worse than. So I think
we got compared to Facebook.
You were phenomenal. You were lucky. And I say lucky not because you made your own luck. You were lucky you were working with Adam Bain.
Yeah.
His job, he was like
right place,
James
right time.
Bond.
Yeah.
what is it going to take to get your business?
Yeah.
Smile, handshake,
Yeah.
show up. Relentless. You could tell.
Bring
Anna
the
Bain was everywhere.
Bring
So
the best
you were everywhere.
Yeah, bring the best ideas. bring the
Every
best
other
servicing.
area of the company was the opposite. From a consumer
outside
point of view.
perspective, yeah.
And worse, as a shareholder,
Yeah.
was the conference calls and whatever the NFL guy's name was, who's now at SoFi.
Anthony.
I haven't seen him.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know the guy.
Yeah.
I was unimpressed. From Scipion down to the product guy, we laughed from the outside, right? With all the drama, we, the users, the drama's supposed to be not Twitter.
Right.
The drama's supposed to be everybody else's
Yeah,
drama. And so it was like, wow. And then all this is going on, and the hard work of the sales team wasn't translated to the stock price. It wasn't translated into the conference calls. It wasn't translated into any other aspect of the company. Hence, today, the stock, and I want to get to the stock.
Yeah.
Today, the stock's the same price it was 6 years
a while
ago.
ago. Yeah.
But, in my opinion, yesterday was a seminal moment. Now, when did you leave Twitter?
I left in, I think, May of 2017.
So 7 years.
Yeah.
You got recruited away.
Yeah.
to
Peter
go-
Chernin was on the board of Twitter, and he left, and he invested in a company called Headspace. And I wanted to do a couple things. One, I wanted to get out of consumer ad-based business model. I wanted to
Very
learn-
important.
Yeah.
You would recommend never doing that. If you had a
Depends on
kid
it depends on
and
who
he
you
was
are.
coming
No,
out of
I
college.
would tell my son, I think it's a hard spot. I think there's a duopoly or an oligopoly with Facebook, with
It's real.
Amazon, with Google.
It's
and
real.
Hopefully Twitter and Snap can continue to chip away at that. But it's hard when they have the level of data and the scale that they have. It's very hard to compete with them. So I wanted to get into a new business. I love learning, and I'm a curious person. I learned entertainment. I learned Madison Avenue. I learned social media. I wanted to learn subscription, and I wanted to learn healthcare, and I wanted to learn enterprise. And those were three things that I could check with Headspace. Great team that's there. I'm definitely still a huge fan of those guys and rooting for them. And it was a good opportunity, as well as geographically. My wife is from SoCal. We'd actually been having some trouble having a baby, and there was a doctor down there that we wanted to see, and we were able to.
So you moved.
So we moved to SoCal, took the job with Headspace, and was able to do a lot of really great stuff, building out.
Were you meditating before?
I
still don't meditate. I don't use any of the
On a
apps.
tough day, I would go on the roof of Twitter and just sit down on the sofa and like take a couple breaths. I was always
Understood.
curious about the space, though.
But before you had heard of Headspace, were you like...
No, it
Okay.
wasn't like a hardcore meditator
Yeah.
or anything like that. Maybe like a curious into it, and I'd followed some handles around.
So how'd you do your
mindfulness.
research to make that move?
Growing
Just the
TAM.
people?
Yeah, well, growing TAM. The millennials very much dedicate disposable income to self-care. So I thought growing TAM. The world is a fucked
Like
up place,
Manscaped.
and people need a little bit. People need world's stressful. Things like having a phone all the time stress you out, and I think growing TAM, normalizing a space, being
Total
first to
addressable market
That's
for-
right, sir. That's right. I'm an acronym guy now. Yeah. Wow. Never thought I'd be that guy.
Okay. Dude, your name's Hoff. You are an acronym. Okay, so growing total addressable, that was the mantra.
Total addressable market was growing. The space was a space that I thought people were going to put income towards. And they had already figured out subscription, which is so hard to get people to pay you
Oh my God.
every single month.
It's a miracle.
I think they had 200,000 or 300,000 subscribers
Already when you joined.
And I was just like, wow, that's a lot. Like, tell me about your unit economics. Take me through your CAC. Do
It
another
must be
acronym.
insanely good.
Tell me about how much it costs to acquire a customer and what the lifetime value is of that customer. Take me through it. So I like the team. I like the product. I like the space. And I thought there was a lot of upside and growth that they could do. But there were a lot of obvious things that when I talked to Jesse Jacobs, who runs Peter's Fund, that they weren't doing. And it was like, these are, glaringly obvious things that they should do. They should build a partnerships team. We partner with Nike. We partner with the NBA.
No
partner with
brainer.
Kaiser Permanente, with United Healthcare. They should build a enterprise sales team. We sold Headspace to 350 plus companies.
Yeah, and a benefit.
Yeah,
It's
of
just a
course.
benefit.
Well, benefit, but also if you can get first-party data, I could say Howard used Headspace and Ross didn't. Howard actually filed less medical claims, so I'd go to a CFO and say, hey, this is actually a double bottom line for your business.
That's
It's a good
big
benefit
change
and
for that
cultural.
company, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It is.
Yeah.
It is. It is a big change. It's also a mission-driven business, which doesn't mean you put profits
And what is
first.
the mission?
To improve the health and happiness of the world. So
I don't trust the guy already. I'm just kidding. No, but who wants to do that?
I mean, if you met the founders, they have conviction and they truly believe that.
I have conviction,
and
but it's also like
but they're not the typical. There's a lot of execs that are in it for they want the exit, they want money, and that's that. The founders, I think, really do believe in what.
And if you're in the subscription business, that sells, isn't it? You keep your congregants happy. You know what I mean? Don't piss off the people paying you. So
it's when you figure out consumer, what else can you tack on? Every good business has three things. You have a product that people love, you have revenue that they're willing to pay for that product, and you have defensibility. So my job is
Twitter really only had one.
Defensibility or a product that people love. I think Twitter has amazing defensibility. Facebook's pointed the Death Star at Twitter several times. And
we'll get into that. Yeah. They have defensibility because of the product.
Agreed.
Yeah. They don't have defensibility because the ad model is not defendable.
Yep.
Eventually attention comes for them in every different way, whether it's Netflix. So I really think they only have one. They've done a great job of keeping the core product the way it is, and that gives them some defensibility.
Sure.
I think the move to 280, as much as they can brag about it, with the model that they yesterday announced, 280 means fuck all.
You're not into it.
Well, I'm not into it. It doesn't change. It's not meaning.
What I always think is, are you building for existing users or are you building for the billions of people that are not yet on your platform?
They've just admitted that they don't care about the billions of users. So the whole 280 is a lie. That is a risk. This is one of the reasons I wasn't long the stock. And this is why I'm looking at it again today, because things have changed. Meaning I didn't like the moves. Product was their defensibility. I'm not saying it's wrong or right. I'm just saying it was unnecessary for moat.
Sure. So the one, if I had to say the one reason why folks would be long on the stock now is because I think Wall Street now understands Twitter better. And
Your tweet yesterday was great.
Yeah, I think I forget what I said. I think it was around like a crisper narrative, product innovation, best relationships and marketers in the business, and driving more engagement. To me, those are things that
they're owning the story.
Agreed.
And so I think what you said yesterday, I'm going to pull it up because I didn't know you were saying this. Because forget the numbers. Okay, this is what matters. And we talked about this at dinner. The stock was up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
a lot.
While people with money yesterday voted after hearing the narrative, the growth wasn't that good. 280 is stupid. They still haven't really improved the product that much, nor do they need to. But what you said is congrats to my friends on the team at Twitter for the great quarter. I don't know if it was a great quarter, or if you're just saying that. I don't think the quarter was that great.
I mean, they beat expectations.
I understand, but it's not like up 40%.
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay.
Subjective.
I mean, the stock was up 20%.
I'm gonna fuse
crisper narrative, damn straight.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the thing that matters. Product innovation, best advertiser relationships.
Yeah.
If you're the type of person that worked there, I agree with you. And deeper engagement. I think what they did yesterday, I don't know, I didn't listen to the call. You listened to the call, but we talked about it at dinner. I looked at the price of the close yesterday, and I was shocked. Okay, because
around $40, right?
Yeah, I felt there was no reason for this. I would have been less shocked if it fell 5.
Yeah.
So the fact it was up 5, now I had to think about it myself. And looking at the price, I'm going, and then reading some of the tweets like yours, I'm like, crisper narrative is all that mattered.
Yeah.
They told Wall Street, this is the way we're going to measure our company.
Yeah.
They could have done this 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And the stock would probably be $100 right now.
We tried. I think people just take a while to come around to it. I also think Twitter's also benefiting right now from the fact that Facebook has just been getting, the stock, yes, but now it's back up. But in the press, they've just been getting thrashed for so long that Twitter benefits from that.
But Jack, this is like, again, I don't want to talk about Jack, especially make you talk about Jack. The fact that Jack's showing up at the president's office yesterday just pisses me off. There's no need that he needs to go there. Trump's ripping him. He's showing up. It all means nothing to me. He gave Trump his 280 carries.
But does that affect the ticker?
Well, it doesn't. So I'm saying I'm watching the stock price yesterday. I'm going, he's still the same person.
Yeah.
Can't stand the way he runs that company. But the narrative changed. This is how we're going to measure the company.
Yeah.
And they came up with some wacko new metric.
Yeah.
But the point is Wall Street voted on that and said, we're ready
we trust
to
you.
judge you on that metric. And the metric they chose is a good metric for them.
It's
because it'll take the pressure off growing, the MAUs.
In a world where we're living in Netflix and there's no appointment viewing and it's all just watching when you can and binging and watching your phone, etc. The fact that last night when Dame Lillard hits a 37-foot 3-pointer with no time left at home in Portland.
Yeah, we were at a restaurant not watching.
And you have, I heard this.
Right. We saw it on Twitter.
And you have people from all walks of life weighing in on that. Like that is the epitome of Twitter. And there's macro moments like the World Cup, the election, the Super Bowl, the what have you.
The one you neglect the most that StockTwit started, the goddamn market opened from 9:30 to 4
The
p.m.
thing that
and then earnings
every
after the
single
market.
day.
Like what the
But
fuck?
then there's micro moments where there's little things that happen in smaller communities that's what Twitter is. And I think they've done a great job at getting people to understand that narrative. That's been the narrative we've had the whole time, and I'll take some fault for this because I was there. But for whatever reason, it didn't resonate, which means we weren't telling the right story.
Yeah, because you were missing also the events that matter the most.
Yeah.
Meaning the billions of dollars a day that go trading on the bond and stock market and the futures.
We created this thing where we would go to marketers and we would say, we called it, I forget what we called it, but we would go to marketers during a live event and say, we'll send people to your office and we'll create like a social media war room and we'll help you spend your money on Twitter.
Yeah.
So we would have like teams that would go during the Super
smart.
Bowl. It was awesome. It was like a Trojan horse to
To
drive
go.
more revenue. It also truly helped the marketer too. So everyone was happy about it. But we would say, okay,
That's hard to scale.
It is hard to scale, but when you're having trouble on the direct response side, and you're not the scale of Facebook, and everyone thinks that you should be the scale of Facebook, you have to work harder and you have to go do things like that. So that's what we would do. So the team would get on a plane, go.
They worked hard on certain things, but they could have worked even harder, meaning give people a list of things they want and have a phone answering machine to tell people how to use Twitter. Like have a phone.
I think you should
thousands of phones that people would teach people how to use Twitter.
I mean, I think you shouldn't have a tweet
Bloomberg
button.
did
Your
that.
first 30 days, there shouldn't be a tweet button when you sign up. You should just be forced to follow and then be like, oh, okay, I get it. Like I can follow content. And the onboarding experience, which I think every investor should continue to go through every quarter just to see what it's like to sign up for any product that they're thinking of investing in. Yeah. It's tough. I mean, you would sign up for Facebook and they would have so much data and they'd say, hey, we think you're good friends with these 10 people. And you'd say, yeah, I'm great friends with these 10 people. I'll go in. It's there's still, I think, too much onus on the user to find
do the
people.
work.
Yeah.
But that's also the benefit.
Of course. But
if people engage far enough.
But if you've ever come to twitter.com and we know what you've clicked on and you're not logged in yet and you don't have an account and we've cookied you and followed you through the internet, we should just say, hey, here's your timeline that we automatically made up for you. Now, I haven't done,
That's cool.
In their defense, I haven't done the onboarding process recently, so maybe that does happen, but I think things like that would make the product easier.
So, my takeaway is, the stock's trading right now like just under 40.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy some shares.
Yeah.
Stop below 34. I think if it drops below this earnings price, or either Wall Street's that was just a flash trade, and maybe I'll see how it acts the next few days. But I think someone wants to buy into this narrative, and if Twitter can stick to a story for a year or two, the stock could double.
I think so. Yeah.
So I'm super bullish.
You're long. Okay.
Again. But I could change my mind if the stock goes below the earnings price. So I'm using that would be my mental
34 is your number.
Yeah, it's below 34. I'm like, all right, maybe that was just the market, and maybe there were short sellers. But if it's above 34 right now, and Twitter doesn't screw up, meaning sticks to their story for the next quarters, great. I don't think they're innovating well enough. How did Vine not work?
Yeah, Vine's a crazy story.
Because you were early there.
Yeah, Vine was the platform. Vine was the platform for anyone,
young people.
Yeah, and for people that were for a newer generation that. Look, YouTube, the trouble with YouTube as a user is discoverability, and as a content creator is discoverability. How are you going to find my content? For someone today to say, I'm going to start a YouTube show, think about this. Go back to your Wall Street
I'm doing it right now with Lynn Zanity.
Yeah, it's hard to drive. Well, now you've galvanized a massive audience, so you can drive
Not
traffic.
Massive.
Well, I got to butter you up a little bit.
100
here.
You don't have to butter me.
Okay.
I know my numbers.
You've galvanized an audience so that you can shift around. The trouble with YouTube is it's so big. Hey, am I going to start a channel? It's probably too hard.
I agree. I never have.
Do it. Vine was a new platform. It was like, oh, there's no one there, and I can do this. It's only 6 seconds, so I don't have to make a whole show and have a crew and do all this stuff. And it really blew up. And the fact that it looped, it was the first platform that did that, and that was just unique. I
didn't get it.
It's so short, but I could watch it again right there.
So it was taken off
again right there, and it was just blowing up. We bought it We actually bought it pre-launch.
Yeah. David Tisch, a friend of mine, who was an investor.
Got it. Okay.
He sold it pre-launch.
Bought it pre-launch. And
so good acquisition.
Yeah, he integrated in, and suddenly, oh my goodness, we have looping video. This is amazing. Let's, off to the races. This is great. However, Vine was operated separately than Twitter, so a GM model and separate office. separate culture. Everyone
Obviously,
thinks
first
like,
mistake in hindsight.
yeah, I think so. And I think the biggest problem with acquisitions, not the biggest problem, the hardest problem with acquisitions is integrations. And I think the most like iconic example of that was AOL Time Warner, where you're bringing in these two different companies and can you get that culture right? And I saw it firsthand with companies that we would buy. Do you uphold their culture? How do the founders or founder feel about not being in charge anymore? Have you truly vetted that from an ego perspective? What are their OKRs and their goals and metrics? Are we integrating the tech stack by when? How are you dispersing the org? Are they going to physically sit together? Are you going to paint the wall behind their seats the color of their logo, or is it going to be blue?
I mean,
like little things like that, they really, really matter. And when you keep it totally separate, at the simplest form, you're kind of telling everyone like, don't go over there. Like let them be.
Such a bad idea.
It sets a precedent for that. So I think that was the first challenge. Second was they completely ignored the community. So
crazy.
Yeah, like the creators that were building it up they were sophisticated, and they said, look, like we want some equity, we want to be involved, and there's a way to meet with them and say, look, we're not going to give you stock, but what we can do is we can build up your following. We can give you free ad credits to build up your following. We can promote your content and get you famous. We have the best relationship in the world with marketers. We could do brand deals with you and make revenue for you. We can invite you to headquarters once a year. You could shake hands with the CEO. And
all
you could
sounds
hear
good
from
on paper.
Product.
Things that Twitter actually doesn't do with its own crowd.
Didn't do.
But Twitter doesn't do that either.
Two things happened. One, the creator said, all right, I'm out. And two, I remember vividly, I was at Cannes with all the marketers. Once a year in France, we would go and meet with all the agencies and brands, and Instagram rolled out looping video. And when Instagram rolled out looping video, and the fact that we alienated ourselves with creators and didn't give them the monetization tools that they needed, they bounced. Yeah. And
they never stuck on Facebook.
They went elsewhere. The best place, if you're a creator today, the best place to monetize your content still is YouTube, hands down.
Okay.
Facebook,
is Instagram second?
Yes. Well, the problem is
you can't really directly monetize.
Yeah, it's tough. It's still closed off.
So it's YouTube.
I think that's not built into Facebook stock is what they're going to do on the video and creator side. And the whole watch thing, like they're going to move past that at some point. It's exactly what YouTube did, which is let's take a couple $100 million, let's give it to some content creators. They're going to make content. We're going to sell around it, and we're going to see if it works, and it doesn't work. And now you have all these other people.
Are you bullish on Facebook?
I am.
Me too.
I think it's in the simplest form. You have several different products that over 2 billion people are using every day.
Yeah.
Buy
the dips, tobacco.
Every
buy the dips.
Every dip I buy. Yeah, I completely agree with you.
Yeah. I mean, Facebook is a ghost town, but it doesn't change the fact that Instagram and WhatsApp and what's the future.
Well, I want to see what they're going to do. How are they going to monetize WhatsApp? I'm curious about that.
Don't know.
Yeah.
Don't care personally. I'm going to own the stock until
agreed.
I see problems. So getting back to good. So Vine screwed up. But I think Twitter screwed up too. Twitter still makes that same mistake. They've never called me and say, "Hey, Howard, good content. Here's some ad credits. We want to help your Linsanity podcast." I'm like, okay, so what they've done for me is just the blue check mark, which I don't need.
And built Twitter. Yeah.
Well, they built Twitter. Yeah. No, but what they've done for me is not let me see in ads. I don't even know if that's a good decision by them because I don't even know how the product works. Maybe if I saw ads, I would spend money on ads.
Start spending cash. Huh.
So I think. Like they're just so out of touch. But above all the problem, this is why I didn't own the stock. Every time I own the stock, I get aggravated. But this time, I'm not saying it's going to be different. This time I have something to lean against. Their story changed. They're not going to treat me any better. They're going to treat Trump the same way. They're probably going to do what the mob wants. They're not going to clean up the fucking spam. But they've told Wall Street, this is the way it's going to be. Mm-hmm. Stock's up. Mm-hmm. Let's see that continue. So I interrupted you, but what makes a great company? You first talked about
product that people know and love, revenue that people are willing to pay for that product, and then defensibility. So having the moat you can build around the business.
And that helped you go to Headspace.
To Headspace because I was able to come in and help build the moat. So how can you build an enterprise product, and how can you diversify the revenue? How can you partner with iconic brands to drive growth? How can you take the product internationally? We launched in Germany, the number one app in all of Germany, not in the category, but just number one app in Germany at launch. How can you integrate within healthcare, partnering with Kaiser, partnering with United Healthcare? Yep. We actually rolled out a subsidiary company called Headspace Health, which is aimed at building the world's first ever digital mindfulness therapeutic, which means an app that doctors could prescribe for specific disease areas that would be stamped by the FDA. Longer term investment, but something we could do. We published I think 20 studies with various academic institutions of the efficacy of the product that were clinical trials that we'd run. and then build out support. So build out all the customer experience and operations teams.
So you're 3 for 3. You're a hot hand. We're kind of simpatico on how we look at the world, so I'm thrilled. You're 37. Why walk away? Why be unemployed?
Yeah,
because I'm all for what you just did.
Yeah, of
knowing
course.
This.
Take some. So one, I have a 1-year-old. My wife is at home with our son, and I've got some time. And it's before he starts going to preschool, and we have to be there and have a structured life. So I figured that's a unique opportunity. 2, someone knocked on our house in the Bay Area. I knocked on the door and wanted to buy our house, and that kind of came out of nowhere, and I kind of took that as a sign.
Yeah.
And 3, I've had a bunch of ideas and things I've wanted to do, and I've always been entrepreneurial outside of work in terms of investing and advising, and even inside of work. But I don't know if it's structured. If the structure of day-to-day operating right now is right for me. I think it could be, but I wanted to take some time to actually think about that.
Mm-hmm.
And
are you getting recruited all over the place?
Yeah, I mean, went up to the Valley twice already and met with a bunch of VCs that want to go to their portfolio. The kind of niche that I think I've carved out is either be CEO of a startup that's starting to scale, has product market fit, has some revenue, but the founder wants to step aside and be the chairman, or wants to, just focus on the product and want someone to run the business, or a COO where the founder still wants to be CEO, and they want someone to come in and run the day-to-day operations of the company, which is nice to have that option. I'm flattered by those opportunities, but at the same time, I should have taken time off after Twitter, and I didn't. Mm-hmm. And if I jump into something right now, I don't know. I think it would be a little soon for that. So I want to take some time and think about it. And it's fun working with. That's why I'm out here, and why I'm glad we got to sit down. There's 2 companies out here that I'm helping out, and it's just fun to dig into their business. Tell me your problems. Tell me how are you? What are the operating principles of the company?
Like being a grandparent, and then you can leave if you don't like it.
And you can leave. It's actually really, really fun, and I've enjoyed it. And I've taken for granted the knowledge that I've acquired over the last 15 years, and I can help them out a lot. And it's really, really fun. And I love checking in on them to hear, how's it going? Tell me about this thing. Last night we were talking about comp structures and how to motivate people, and how could you game this comp structure. This other company, Surf, that I'm working with, that's built out a network of out-of-home digital tablets and advertising network that they're starting to get some real scale, both in rideshare, in hotels, and in retail. Mm-hmm. It's really fun to just talk through the problems they have. And for them, I think it's cathartic for the founders to bounce something off of someone who really only has their best interest in mind. I'm not on the board. I'm not trying to flip their company. I'm not. Yeah. I'm just, hey, I'm here to. Yeah, I'm here to help. I'm here. I'm like a calm voice that's going to listen. I'm going to help you out. I'm going to offer some suggestions. They might suck, or you might take my suggestions. Who knows? But we're gonna work through it. I spend a lot of time in front of a whiteboard. I love meeting the teams. I love getting into it and digging in with the teams. And I think people appreciate the different perspectives. So that's what I've been doing the last few weeks.
Well, mazel tov to you. I think it's great.
Thanks.
I think you're. These are the stories people need to hear, especially. My kid's 20, 21. My daughter's going to go work at Rally Road this summer. Awesome. My son wants to get in the music business. He needs mentor. Like, the thing that I needed was mentor. Sounds like you got some mentorship. Yep. Who was your best mentor?
Let's see. Who are some good mentors for me? So still through this day, in no particular order.
Yeah, no order.
Definitely Bain and a guy like Dick are people that I reach out to and help me out all the time. Ron Conway. There's a guy, Larry Goodman, who was Ted Turner's number 2 through the whole all of Turner.
Goodman, so he's Irish.
He's an amazing guy. Yeah, exactly. Those are the main 4
So you've
folks.
got mentors.
Yeah, that I speak to.
So I think that's the most important thing
Sure.
that you could pass on. It's like, if I had, for me, Fred Wilson, Brad Feld, on the VC side, and, it took me way too long in my career to really understand the power of that. So you paying it forward and doing that mentorship is key.
Of course.
So you are doing that. How do you decide when you're going to? You told me you've invested in a bunch of companies.
Yeah.
What's the thing you look for?
The founder. Every time. If I'm investing my time and money, there's got to be conviction in the founder, and they have to really. I think that's the first thing, is just the people. So once that test is passed. If I have a history with them and know them, then there's way less diligence, and usually it's a pretty quick check. If it's someone new that I've been introduced to. I want to vet them. I want to talk to their customers. I want to talk to their competitors. I want to talk to the customers of their competitors. I want to know the space. I want to research it. I want to find VCs that passed on them and why. I want to find people that invested in them and why. And there's definitely obviously some gut. And in this world, as you know, you have to move quickly on things like this. But I think it lives and dies with the person who started the business, and do they have the long-term vision, and do you think they can execute, and do you think they won't quit no matter what happens? That's the most important thing.
Perfect. So I think that's a good strategy. And then I'll end it with what do you see that's exciting today? Is there any app? Is there any company?
Sure. I'm actually
that you just go, wow, they're fucking cool.
Yeah, I'm actually meeting the founder tonight of a company in LA. I think they're based in Chicago and LA called Cameo.
It's genius. Someone on StockTwit's got Snoop Dogg yesterday.
Awesome.
We bought a gift, or not me.
Yeah.
StockTwit's team bought a woman in our company. Snoop Dogg sending
It's great.
Well, I know Brent Hill. He was at Twitter and sales.
Brent's great.
So Brent's a great VC and actually an LP in our fund at Social Leverage, but small world. I was talking to him before I saw you at dinner last night. I think Cameo is like, they wedged in.
Yeah.
Like, how many people have tried to get celebrities to do stuff? Twitter should have done Cameo in a way.
Twitter still could roll that out and say, hey, people like Howard, we want to build this feature for you, and it's only going to be for people with a blue check mark.
And you can give your money to charity or whatever. So what does Cameo do?
Do whatever you want. So they're a video marketplace for shout-outs from influential people.
Fucking genius.
If you had to simplify it in one thing. And I met the founder for breakfast probably 2 months ago. Good guy, Steve. And they've built out a great, simple product that people love.
What a wedge. But they're going to be fighting for their lives forever.
Yes, I think, look, there's going to be copycats internationally that they're either going to have to buy or build or kill. There's going to be, they are not getting people like you who do not need the $100 for a shout out.
Third tier.
Yeah, they're getting the
Division 4 guys like me who have super fans.
They get some big names, like I know Antonio Brown or Snoop, or I saw Tony Hawk, but those are splashes, flash in the pan. Can you get them to
and those people will be run out of, like, they can't do thousands a day, and they're getting offers to do thousands.
But could you get them to sustainably do something? Maybe it's a contest platform, and you could say there's people bidding for it. Anyway, so that's cool. They're definitely a really exciting product that I'm excited to spend. And
it has some of what you've done in the past.
Yeah, of course.
Because speed's going to be important.
Speed and just what's the moat? That's what I ask every founder. Like, tell me about the moat.
Yeah.
And if they kind of go, it's like, all right, that's not a good sign.
Yeah.
Or if they say, like, here's our moat. It's these 3 things. This is what I'm laser focused on. And then you talk to other people at the company, and they can name those same 3 things, and they've really instilled that or distilled that within the organization. Those are things I look for. So that's the one that's come up recently that I've been like, wow, that's really fascinating. Cool. Like, how the hell did we not think about that at Twitter? Like, what a great idea. How can I get involved? So I'm meeting with him tonight.
And in terms of your own money, you manage it yourself?
Yeah, I buy. I work with someone as well, but I buy what I know. I don't buy stuff that I have no idea about. But when someone writes an article about some stock, and when Netflix dipped 9% last week, when an NYU professor said that Netflix is going to be so hurt because Disney Plus, I was just like,
well, that was the obvious immediate reaction that Netflix was going to go down.
Well, yeah, and I said that's a great buying opportunity. You go buy Netflix, and then it has a little pop, and then you go sell it. So I do.
So you're trading a little.
Yeah, I trade on.
Not easy to do.
Well, I used to. I've had I think at least 4 days a week for the last 10 years, where I would get home every day and say what happened in the stock market and what happened on Twitter, because I've been in meetings all fucking day, or in meetings with customers or strategy sessions, etc. So now I have time to actually do that and can actually trade within the day, which has been fun. And then on the private side, it's more just, as you know, network, traveling, meeting with people. Hey, what are the 3 most interesting companies you've seen? Can I get an introduction? How can I help you?
Yeah.
But I try to go into any meeting saying, like, what are your goals? How can I help? And I don't ask for anything in exchange. And if I can add value to someone, I think they're going to want to say, all right, I want to have a relationship with this guy. Either I want him on the cap table as an advisor, or I want him to put some money in the company. And I think other people take the opposite approach, which is like, either give me advisor shares, or, I want to do this. And I think if you lead with helping someone, if they're a good person, hopefully it comes back your way too. Yeah.
Well, I think it's a good decision. This is all personal, but good decision. I've got 2 kids. They seem to like me. So I'm the happiest about that.
Yeah.
My daughter texts me all the time. My son, I have writing, and he kind of likes me, and we joke about it. But that's the only thing I got going. So for you to make that decision, I like that decision.
Thanks.
Life is short, but also very long.
Yeah, being a dad's great. I've loved it.
Being a dad's
and
cool.
My kid's gonna be walking within the next 2 weeks.
It's underrated.
I'm gonna see it.
A lot of the CEOs that we invest in, I like seeing. I don't want to follow them on Twitter. It's like I want to follow my CEOs on Instagram,
Right.
to see them living,
Life.
a family life.
Yeah, totally.
Hopefully, I want to see their kids, but on Instagram, not on,
Yeah.
So I like seeing that. I think there's kind of that balance that millennials will get because of the era that we live in. Is there any questions that you have for me? One question, maybe.
One question for you. I'll reciprocate it. What have you seen that's interesting lately?
So what's interesting about fintech for me is obviously Twitter.
Yeah.
The fact that they've completely let Bloomberg, obviously, in my opinion, Jack has a man crush on Bloomberg, and that's the one person he should treat as Lex Luthor.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's, again, tactically, Jack, as someone, just a shareholder,
Sure.
is pissed about because, same way I see him with Trump, Bloomberg should be enemy number one.
Yeah.
He's building their business. He had TweetDeck. He had the data that Bloomberg never had.
Yeah.
And he's underselling it.
Yeah.
This is not your division or
Sure.
whatever. So,
A lot of
I
upside
think
on data licensing. I agree.
Twitter's mistakes have created this massive opportunity for the last 10 years that I continue to capitalize, whether it's Robinhood or StockTwits or now KoiFin, which I'm excited about, and Rally Road. I think kids are going to invest.
Yeah.
And just like you were talking about it, like you didn't have formal financial training.
No.
You buy companies you love.
Yeah.
You've learned how the sausage is made inside some of these companies. You've seen the inside of a rocket ship.
Yeah.
You have the good and the bad, yet you still like Twitter.
Yeah.
Because you can get outside the fact that there's the front-facing company and
Yeah.
what's happening behind the walls.
And be unemotional when you're investing. Yeah.
Be unemotional. So, that's kind of what gets me excited. I'm really excited about, Bitcoin, although I don't understand it fully. I'm really excited about Robinhood and where StockTwits is going. I'm really excited about KoiFin, which is this new visualization tool for fundamental data. And I'm really excited about Rally Road because they're taking fractionalization to alternative assets.
Yeah.
So I think, and then I'm really interested in SecFi, which is another one of our
we were talking
investments,
about that last night.
which helps people like you,
Liquidity,
execs at get their first liquidity,
Yeah.
talk about their first liquidity, get some mentorship around their first liquidity, build diversification,
Yeah.
which will make everybody a better person.
Sure.
The calmer we make this next generation, maybe they'll stay at their job and perform higher.
Yeah.
Instead of worrying about their salary.
Yeah.
I think we went this last 10 years where you're locked up.
Yeah.
You don't know what a 409A is. You don't know, and the most valuable asset you have is you can't borrow against it. You can't do anything with it. So I think we're at this era that's quickly changing. I don't know how long it'll last for. So SecFi is kind of a point in time where it's working. So financial services is where I'm interested.
Yeah.
So, when I saw Cameo yesterday and Patrice at StockTwits getting a shout out from Snoop, I'm like, that company. I'd known what the company was, but to see it, to know how many levers they can pull in terms of growing users without paying for them.
Yeah.
That's
Great
unbelievable.
business. Yeah.
All right. So I appreciate you coming
Yeah,
on
of course.
the
Thanks for having me.
podcast, and we'll continue the conversations offline.
Awesome. Thanks, Howard.